Is the Prime Minister going to find himself in a tough spot on this one? Appears so. He's trying to get out of it. But with the note out, the ministers are not happy. And I'd like to say this on record. The ministers don't want to go on record. There are certain ministers who have spoken to Times Now saying, how can the Prime Minister wash his hands of this deal? He was the person who called for that meeting of ministers in the first place. I'm just not mentioning the ministers because they chose to speak on condition of anonymity to this channel. Ashwini Kakkar is one of the honchos of India's tourism and aviation sector. And sitting with him also immediate past president of the Travel Agents Federation of India, Ajay Prakash, understands the sector very well and the implications of the deal. That's on the corporate side. But there is a political angle to this, and pushing that, Sanjay Jha, thanks for joining us. Subramaniam Swamy, president of the Janata Party, thank you very much. He's written a letter. I have a copy of the letter in which he wrote to the Prime Minister saying this is a mega fraud. That's a copy of Subramaniam Swamy's letter, threatening to go to court now over this. But my first question is to TSR Subramaniam, former Cabinet Secretary. Mr. Subramaniam, simply tell me this, please, that the Prime Minister clears this deal, pushes it through, and in fact puts his entire weight behind it on the 22nd of April. Right? And now, in the 1st of July, the Prime Minister's office, we now hear, is completely washing its hands of the deal, saying, I never wanted it. Salman Khurshid wanted it. Anand Sharma wanted it. Ajit Singh wanted it. I didn't want it. But if the Prime Minister didn't want it, then why did he push for it?
Arnab, there are many, clearly I don't have availability of all the facts before me, all the details. But from what little that I have, 2 or 3 things are quite clear. It is a very strange, appears to be a strange case where a decision is taken first, and then after that it is examined subsequently whether it is a good decision or a bad decision.
Yeah.
And if it is a bad decision, this is not normally the way Government of India functions. But let me focus on only one major piece of paper, which is the minutes of the meeting by Mr. I find it a document which I have never seen like of it before. Was it a group of ministers? Was it a cabinet committee? Was it an informal meeting of ministers? Under the rules of business, any cabinet committee can only say its minutes can be recorded only by an official under the rules of business. So clearly this is neither a cabinet committee nor a group of ministers.
No, but there's a letter.
So this is clearly informal.
There's a signature of Chidambaram.
Informal advice.
There's Mr. Chidambaram's signature on this note. He signs it.
Unequivocal.
You think it means
unequivocal, and therefore I have not seen, number one. Number two, if it is a cabinet committee,
yes,
it has to be notified as such. In that case, the cabinet committee it always gives its finding on a note. It never gives a suo motu opinion. Where is the note attached to that? Second question.
Okay.
Third question is, a cabinet committee, which has the force of the cabinet, gives its findings staccato. It gives decisions. It does not have to explain, it does not have to. But a group of ministers will have to explain its decisions. An informal group. Now, I am very curious. The IMG, the group of the Interministerial Committee, IMC, clearly had objections. Where are the objections? These objections have to be met. You cannot have a governance where a formal group gives objections or support, etc. You cannot blindly just overrule them. We are not ruling in. We are not in the Mughal Darbar. It has to be formalized in some manner. I would like to know what the objections were. Where clearly government had the right to overrule them. Clearly government could do whatever they wanted. But it has to be on paper. This is not a kitchen cabinet. This is a democracy. This is by constitution. I find this the most astonishing paper I have seen in the last 30-40 years.
That's the paper that Mr. Subramaniam is talking about, the astonishing paper. Mr. Subramaniam, I think if there's another paper which will vie for the title of the most astonishing paper from the government, it will be the PMO letter. Because there is Mr. Chidambaram. Clearly, Mr. Chidambaram is not happy giving a clearance to this. He's clearing it because the Prime Minister has, indicated that he would like him to take a look at it. Now, what the Prime Minister says later, and I'd like to come to Subramaniam Swamy. I don't know what defense Sanjay Jha is going to present tonight. Now, the Prime Minister is saying is basically this, Subramaniam Swamy. He is saying that, listen, I had grave problems with this deal, with this India-UAE deal. I did not want it for XYZ reasons. I did not want it to compromise our aviation hubs. I did not want it may benefit one party. I did not want it other countries may ask for it. I did not want it for so many reasons, but Ajit Singh wanted it. Salman Khurshid backed it. Chidambaram backed it. Anand Sharma batted for it. Right? That's what the Prime Minister is saying today, that he went in with the collective wisdom of his ministers. This is the closest that we are getting to the 2G kind of situation where the Prime Minister is saying, I went with the collective advice given to me by individuals. And tomorrow the Prime Minister can well turn around and say, well, if 4, 5, 6 ministers get together and say it's a good deal, then I go with their wisdom. Would you give him that leeway? Would you give him that leeway?
Well, first of all, let me say that there's nothing wrong with the Prime Minister doing a U-turn. I don't know why you want him not to do it. If supposing he realizes at late stage that something is really horribly wrong,
well,
he should be permitted to do a U-turn.
Well, I mean,
your Prime Minister for you is a soft target, so you can take shots at him.
Mr. Chidambaram.
There's also a hard target about whom you must also remember the Congress Party has itself gone on record to say that this government functions on a diarchy. So you look at the Prime Minister's note and see the last paragraph.
Yes.
There was a document which was prepared by the intelligence which talks about the impact on Indian Airlines of the Middle Eastern airlines.
Yes.
Now, that's really what might have changed his mind. And I therefore congratulate and compliment the Prime Minister that he had the nerve and the guts to do a U-turn. And we should welcome it. This deal is a mega fraud, is a multi-dimensional fraud. And it would ruin our entire airlines industry. In effect, will transfer the entire operations to Abu Dhabi. And for what reason? Abu Dhabi, all it has is it pokes holes in the ground and then raises the prices of oil and makes a lot of money and then tries to buy. The crux of the matter, let us understand, is that Jet Airways boss is going to get $900 million.
Yeah.
And for that, the government of India is compensating the Etihad by giving this 40,000 increase in seats and transferring the hub essentially to Abu Dhabi, where all these big airports that we have built will become white elephants.
No,
that is the
Dr. Swamy.
scandal.
Dr. Swamy, I think
yes.
I think with the greatest of respect to you, I find it very astonishing that you are batting for the Prime Minister tonight. Because the first question that you should be asking, well, I know that, but I feel that you're batting for him for the wrong reasons here. Because the first question which you should be asking is this, that why did the Prime Minister wake up belatedly to the many concerns about the deal when the Prime Minister was himself in a meeting? And I put that question to Sanjay Jha. The Prime Minister was himself in a meeting that discussed the bilateral agreement with senior ministers before it was cleared. And not only that, according to this note of the Prime Minister's office, which I am now going to place once again before our screens, and Sanjay Jha, I wish you could take a good hard look at it. But so that you don't accuse me of making up the facts, Sanjay Jha, let me tell you, one part of this letter says that after the meeting of the group of ministers, time was sought by the group to urgently brief the Prime Minister. Accordingly, on the same day, discussions were held with the Prime Minister by the Finance Minister along with the Civil Aviation, External Affairs and Commerce and Industries Ministers, which was also attended by the National Security Advisor and the Prime Minister. And the Principal Secretary. So, tell me Sanjay Jha, Principal Secretary, right, Prime Minister of India, National Security Advisor and 4 ministers sit together and clear the deal on the 22nd. And they are in such a hurry, Sanjay Jha, that they have a meeting of ministers in the morning, then they go back and meet the Prime Minister, and they meet the Principal Secretary, everyone troops it, it clears it. 2 days later, the deal is signed in UAE, in the evening, Jet Etihad deal is signed. My question to you tonight is, all these people who sat and cleared it, they never gave it any thought? They never knew then about the objections? They didn't know, and let me be very specific with you, and this is something, they did not know that the Department of Economic Affairs had said, how can the government on one side pump 30,000 crores into Air India to bail it out, and on the other allow someone else to come in and take away its traffic? This is also on record. So right hand doesn't know what left hand is doing in the government, Sanjay.
Can I answer?
Yeah, please.
Okay, to start with a couple of factual errors in the statement of Mr. Swamy. Just for the record, it's important to be appropriate and more prepared for debates of this kind. The amount of money raised by JET was 370 million, not 900 million. Secondly, this entire debate
I'm sorry, you don't know the facts.
What Mr. Swamy said. Mr. Swamy's statement says that Abu Dhabi is
look at
the backward part of a
you
desert.
don't know.
But in that case, the entire discussion is totally meaningless because according to him, it's not worth the bullet. So what are we talking about today? Anyway, to answer your question, Arnav, coming back to your point, and I would request the gentleman, whoever it is, to kindly...
Well, that is Dr. Swamy, and he says you are factually wrong, so I think you should... No,
1
second.
Yeah,
1 second.
Yeah, I will tell you.
He can come to me later.
Tell you what the facts are.
He can come to me later.
I'll tell you what the facts are.
He can come to me later.
Okay, I let him come in. Sanjay, I'm coming back to you. So, though I must say here...
let me intervene.
1 second.
He gets $79 million in the share value.
Yeah.
70 million for slots in the Heathrow Airport. $150 million for the transfer of jet privilege. And $300 million as loans at a mere 3%. The terms of which are not known, whether he has to pay it back or if so, over what period. All this put together is $900 million.
Yeah.
As usual, he is ill-informed. He should go back and see the record first before passing comments.
I want to just say here one fact that I don't think the issue is whether it's 3 million, 300 million, 300 crores or whatever. Yeah. The question we are asking tonight is... No, 1 sec. The question we are asking tonight is the government of India has had a late realization that it has messed up in clearances to a deal. And the Prime Minister of India, after having cleared it, is now leading the charge against the deal. And can we allow such a situation?
Okay, now...
Tomorrow. Yes, Sanjay Jha, respond. Then I'm coming to Ashwini Kakkar and Rajat.
Yeah. Now, I will respond to it, but once again, another factual error. The FDI in aviation policy is about an equity stake. 49% is allowed. This is 24% equity. We are talking equity, not any other financial deal. So I think Mr. Swamy still, regretfully, does not know his facts. I mean, at least he doesn't understand the basics of equity funding. Anyway, to move on to the critical point that you asked. Now, number 2 point, Arnav, I think what we need to really establish here, in the background of what has happened in India's aviation sector, and I'm glad you got some panelists who are experts, you did need FDI in aviation. Number 2, even this issue of 24% stake that Etihad Airways has taken in JET is not yet approved, is going through an FIPB approval, it will go through a SEBI approval. The Prime Minister, in fact, should be given full credit for the transparencies introduced by asking all the other ministries concerned to make sure that the due diligence is done in a manner that meets the right standards. Now, I'm coming to another point. Hang on. Since the big issue you're talking about
you're getting a contradiction.
UAE deal or the Abu Dhabi, Arnav, you promised me a minute. Just give me that minute.
30 seconds,
You also talked about this Abu Dhabi deal with India. Let me explain. The deal with Abu Dhabi that India has is not with Etihad Airways. It's available to all airlines. Number 1. Number 2, I'll also give you the other answer on the hub. I remember there was a CAG report that said and castigated, I think, the Indian government for giving the same facilities to Dubai. Dubai is today one of the most popular international hubs, not because we gave them a reciprocal
I don't know who to believe in the government.
Created the infrastructure. The Emirates airline today is the world's most
I don't know airline. The question tonight on the news is simply this. Mr. Jha, who do we believe? This is a question tonight. 1 second, Sanjay. 1 second. Do we believe Ajit Singh?
Mr. Swamy is converting it to a political discussion. No, of course. The government is following the right transparent procedures. Everybody is doing it the right way. If there is an issue on a commercial aspect, that can be discussed. I would like to hear the views of some of the others.
Can you tell me then if this is the procedure, is this the procedure of the government of India that you clear it one day and go back on it one other day? Secondly, who do you believe? You believe Ajit Singh? You believe Ajit Singh who thinks... 1 second. 1 second. No. There is a fight in the government tonight.
By saying that everybody has a right to revisit a deal.
Sanjay Jha, if this is some form of collective decision making, in which in the course of your decision making you embarrass your entire country, then I think this is something to worry about, because the only thing that is resulting as a result of this confusion in the government is embarrassment to 1 billion people. Is this the way you govern? Even the UAE is going to ask you. You come one day, your minister signs a deal, then you go back and you realize you messed up and you say, okay, we put it on hold, and then you say we'll take it before a full cabinet. Did the Prime Minister not know the security implications? Did the Prime Minister of India not know the business implications?
You are getting into
Did the Prime Minister of India not realize? Ajay is coming up.
26,000 seats are given between two airlines.
Let's just leave the politics out of this for a moment. Let us also examine the commercial implications of this deal. I mean, at the end of the day, you have had 37,000 seats given away to Abu Dhabi so that Jet Airways could get a whopping 32% premium over the prevailing market share price. I mean, come on.
Right.
What are we talking about? I mean, who is determining civil aviation policy in this country? Is it the government? Is it the civil aviation minister? Is it the prime minister? Or is it an individual entity who stands to gain by such a deal?
Well, the Prime Minister's office is saying today that the civil aviation minister approached the Prime Minister to emphasize that a visit of an official of the civil aviation ministry had been scheduled shortly. It would send a wrong signal if it were postponed. And I also want to place on record one very astonishing fact. And this fact is really worrying. In the letter of the Prime Minister's office, Sanjay Jha, 1 minute. In the letter of the Prime Minister's office, there is an admission that the purpose of the meeting which Mr. Chidambaram chaired was to override the objections of the interministerial group into the bilaterals to be entered with Abu Dhabi. In other words, a specific meeting is called to override objections. And that meeting, I don't know, finishes in half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours flat.
Bilaterals?
There is a question.
Valuable. I mean, look at how British Airways guards zealously its Heathrow spots. Look, I mean, are we sitting here? Is this a charitable institution that is being run by the Civil Aviation Ministry?
I think obviously there are diverse sets of interests as far as this whole deal is concerned. You know, if you look at it from the finance minister's point of view, he probably thinks it's a great idea to get the $1 billion or close to $1 billion into the country. Also, he probably thinks that, you know, the failing banks, because Kingfisher failed and took away a lot of the money with it. I think Jet Airways today has a 1,900 crore loss, and it also has almost a 13,000 crore borrowing. So he probably thinks this is a great idea to get that stuff in. Now, equally, if you look at
you tell me one thing. There is an interministerial group that comprises the Prime Minister's office, Ministries of Finance, External Affairs, Commerce and Civil Aviation. Can you just tell me, they have objections about a deal, okay?
Well,
they have objections about a deal.
There will also be lots of objections about this deal. Obviously the hubs, look at India's hubs. They're being compromised completely.
The Prime Minister's
Air
office...
India is being completely compromised.
I think the Prime Minister's office has made one very critical point here. It says the note should make a mention that after the IMG meeting, the Minister for Civil Aviation, Ajit Singh, approaches the Prime Minister's office and the PMO and the Prime Minister urgently seeking to conclude the MOU by overriding objections of the IMG. I say is that a constitutional way of functioning the government? I'm asking that question to Sanjay Jha. Does it work like this? That the Ajit Singh picks up the phone, tells the Prime Minister, I need this deal through, can you get a meeting to override the objections of the interministerial group? Sanjay Jha, does it work like that? Where is the process? Where is the governance process?
No, let me answer.
It works like that if it's a diarchy.
In terms of its larger implication. At the moment of time, if the hub is the big issue and not the actual deal between Etihad and Jet Airways, you've got Dubai, which is a hub. You're competing against Singapore 5 hours away. You're competing against Hong Kong 6 hours away. Hubs are international. Their competitive biddings happen all the time. As long as the government is doing it in a transparent way. As long as the government is doing it in a transparent way,
you have write off the hub that you have sought to create at T3 in Delhi.
What makes you
or in Mumbai or in Kolkata?
1 minute. It's reciprocal. There are 2 points, Arnab, you need to understand. It's a reciprocal basis. Even your airlines get an equal amount of access.
Number two, Abu Dhabi?
This is not just about Abu Dhabi. Maybe on airlines. Maybe the other ministers are also looking at other, bilateral commercial advantages that you're getting.
If you have one hub already in Dubai, why do you need another one in Abu Dhabi? Why can't you give it to, let's say, Malaysia or to Singapore?
No.
But are we in the business of like facilitating creation of hubs outside the country?
The problem
while we're investing money in
let me tell you, in simple lines, giving anything to Abu Dhabi doesn't stop India from making its own airport.
Sanjay Jha tells that to the Prime Minister.
May I tell you?
We have to improve our own infrastructure.
No.
We have to give better duty free. We have to provide better
Sanjay Jha,
roads
don't
and
confuse
hotels.
the situation. No, I'm going back to Subramaniam Swamy. No, I think
tourists all over the world. It's a common business logic of
Here is a
airlines.
deal.
Yeah, okay.
Here is a deal which is 25% equity purchase of Etihad, and the agreement written between Jet and Etihad is that all the offices of accounting, passenger records, manifest, everything will be transferred to Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and that Etihad will have the right to decide who shall be the CEO, who shall be the main managers, all in effect. For 25%, the entire Jet Airways is going to be part of Etihad.
No, my
effective management control is almost being transferred.
No, one sec. Sanjay Jha, 1 minute. I want to go back to the issue of how decision making happens in government. Sanjay Jha, 1 minute, allow me. Allow me, Sanjay Jha, 1 minute. No, Mr. Jha, 1 second. Mr. Jha, 1 minute. Mr. Jha, 1 second. I want to place on record. I don't care. Our viewers don't care whether, the details of the business agreement between Etihad and Jet. What I am focused on is the 1 second, Sanjay. Sanjay, allow me.
That is the crux of the discussion.
Allow me. Okay. I am saying tonight to CSR Subramaniam, my question is, there is a late realization by the Prime Minister's office. Right? But would this deal have been signed in the first place had the Prime Minister's office not told Mr. Chidambaram to hold a meeting of the ministers on the 22nd. If the Prime Minister had told Ajit Singh that, look here, Mr. Ajit Singh, you may be in a hurry to do this deal, but if it is against national interest, I'm not going to, create a process whereby you get your way. Why did the Prime Minister not say that? Should he not have said that, Mr. Subramaniam, when Ajit Singh put the pressure on?
Arnab, I'll come to your point in just 1 second. If it is such a good deal, why are we discussing it? The great deal has been struck. Forget about it and implement it. I mean, we are now cancelling it and then saying it's a good deal. Make up your mind, please. You can't change in government. You can't make up your mind every day. It's a damn good deal, excellent deal. Forget about it. It's government's right to do it. Forget about it. I've got a right to do it. Number one. Number two, if you see that note by Chidambaram,
there's no harm in discussion.
There is one tremendous sentence which says this meeting has been held. Sir, please don't interrupt me. I don't interrupt you. Sir, there is one sentence which says there's one sentence which says this is held at the instance of the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
So therefore, Prime Minister, if we agreed with the interministerial group's meeting earlier, there's no reason to have this meeting at all. It would have gone through, it would have approved, the matter is closed, doesn't have to go to Parliament. Clearly, they wanted them overruled. Astonishingly, Chidambaram's own ministry has objections.
Yes.
Those objections are not mentioned in this note and they are being overruled.
No, it's not mentioned, but I can tell you about it.
How we can do business. I can't believe how government business is done.
Yeah, in 2G also the ministry was against what Mr. Chidambaram did. Mr. Chidambaram probably exceeded his brief.
No, 1 second. 1 second. Now we bring in the 2G comparison. 1 minute, gentlemen. The question therefore is that given the fact that the Prime Minister burnt his fingers in the 2G deal, what I find similar is this another bit to insulate the Prime Minister from any adverse fallout that such a deal could have? And when Pawan Kumar Bansal happened, when Ashwini Kumar happened, and when this Parliament report was submitted, which really tore apart this deal, which was backed by senior parliamentarians like Sitaram Yechuri, at that point of time, did the Prime Minister's office, Mr. Subramaniam, think that, let us keep arm's length? Like they kept arm's length from 2G?
Arnab, I have only one additional point. You are bringing in 2G at this stage.
Yeah.
My hunch is different. My hunch is in the last month, a new development has taken place that officers of the PMO are under the scanner on the CBI issue relating to Coalgate. I think people are getting cold feet on deals which are there, on which action has been taken. This is possibly, so it is not only 2G to which there is an eerie parallel. there is also an immediate provocation relating to the coal gate, because people have to explain how can a PMO officer, on whose direction, whose orders, can they go and sit and tamper with an affidavit for the Supreme Court? These are questions which we are going to answers which we will know. I think that is a trigger more than 2G.
No, but one second.
Equally, SEBI and FIPB.
Yeah, okay, go ahead, Ashwini Kumar.
Because SEBI and FIPB both should have been involved in the first place. And now, were they overruled? We don't know all these things, because also the information is coming out in dribs and drabs. You know, it was not disclosed to the stock exchanges on day one.
Okay.
It was kept back. And, you know, we don't know who's influenced.
Or the only defense for the Prime Minister in this case, Subramaniam Swamy, I put that question to you. May I put a question to you, Subramaniam Swamy? My question is that, you actually are saying today that we'll compliment the Prime Minister of India for having done a U-turn in this deal?
I am not saying compliment. I said if a man is ready to backtrack from falling off the precipice, we should appreciate it. In my letter, which you only did not read, I have in fact threatened him with prosecution under the Prevention of Corruption Act, the last paragraph. So that the issue is not I know the Prime Minister, I know that he is a weakling, all that. The question is that he went along, and somewhere along the way he got documents which made him frightened. One of them is the 25th May document which is mentioned in the last paragraph. And second, let me tell you another thing that is about to explode. The SEBI has asked who owns the Jet Airways, because that Tailwinds, nobody knows who are the trustees of that Tailwinds Virgin Island thing. So the SEBI has asked this question. I don't think Jet Air can answer that question.
Well, that's a strong point. But right now I'm not going into issues of corporate ownership and merger, demerger, and how it happens and where the base of.
These are the things that must have changed the Prime Minister.
I am sure that many issues will come up, but I don't get an answer to the question that the Prime Minister says I have serious worries about this deal. Please tell me, Sanjay Jha, why does the Prime Minister suppress his worries about the deal in April? Why did he suppress his worries? Why did he hide his worries? Was there any pressure built on? I cannot believe that Mr. Ajit Singh is such a powerful politician that he can dictate the Prime Minister of India what he should be doing on a deal like this. You think so, Sanjay Jha? You think Ajit Singh can call up the Prime Minister and say,
your question.
Please do this?
Let me answer your question. That government declares an FDI in aviation policy, FDI in broadcast media, FDI in multi-brand retail. There are different ministries which take care of these various areas. Point number one. Point number two, which airline decides to partner with which foreign carrier, that's not something which is known to the
Today the Prime Minister of India is complaining. Today the Prime Minister of India, Sanjay Jha.
Point number three.
No, Sanjay, the Prime Minister of India,
by which a foreign investment,
Mr. Jha, 1 minute.
By which a foreign investment gets approved,
Mr. Jha,
even as we talk, Arnab, is actually under process. In fact, there have been issues raised by the
Mr. Jha, don't hide behind that.
There is an issue. In fact, let me tell you, the Ministry of
Don't hide behind the FDI policy.
Whether the control and ownership of Jet Airways is something that we need to look at more closely.
I have a simple question.
No, but I have a simple question.
You have to.
One second.
Go ahead.
Sanjay Jha, 1 minute. My question to you is, if it is such a great deal, answer the question that TSR Subramaniam is asking tonight. If it is such a beautiful deal, if it is so good for the country, then please tell me, why does the Prime Minister of India not want to own it? Why does Mr. Chidambaram say in his note, I had the meeting at the directions of the Prime Minister, Mr. Chidambaram doesn't want to own it? Why does the Department of Economic Affairs oppose it? And why does even Ajit Singh say that this deal has the blessings of the Prime Minister? It's such a fantastic deal, then why is nobody wanting to take ownership for it? You know what the problem is, Mr. Jha? Today nobody wants to own this deal because they are worried 1 or 2 years from now there's going to be a CAG report, there'll be a scam. And nobody wants to burn their fingers there. That's the real issue here tonight. Don't you think so?
And there will be a new government.
Even the countries with which we have bilateral agreements. For example, Singapore. We have a trade agreement with Singapore. We have a trade agreement impending with the European Union. Tomorrow they are going to ask for the same deal. Who is going to answer all these questions?
Well, the Prime Minister knew that the other countries will ask for the deal. Did the Prime Minister not know on the 22nd of April that other countries are going to ask for the deal?
So the
is it a realization that the Prime Minister has only in June?
So, Arnab, the question arises,
why didn't he say so then earlier?
Well, I'm sure he, there are obviously conflicting views on this, and the conflicting views in the committee have been discussed.
Sanjay Jha on your panel.
This actually takes us back to something else that happened, where 100 aircraft were ordered by the Civil Aviation Minister. Now, the question is, somebody has to take ownership of these decisions. If this deal is now being questioned by the Prime Minister's office, surely someone should have examined it before. Well, the question arises, who engineered the deal? Now, that is another question that needs to be asked.
The question arises, and the question arises, who engineered the deal?
Arnab, I think the discussion is becoming slightly lost its track. Because
no, it hasn't lost its track, Mr. Jha. We are really looking at two aspects. One is the commercial, and the second is the political.
I'm willing to take the bull by the horns if you let me. I'm willing to take the bull by the horns if you let me. Number one, you yourself have stated it, and it's a fact that the Prime Minister or any other minister in the government has got the right to question any deal at any point of time.
Why are you arguing theoretically, Sanjay Jha?
Pass to a stress test.
Why are you arguing theoretically?
Absolutely nothing wrong with that.
It is being written in this letter of the Prime Minister's office. The Prime Minister's office writes a letter. And one second, Mr. Jha.
We have asked SEBI to look into the into the entire structure. That does it give any advantage to Etihad in terms of running Jet Airways? So where is the question of anybody being negligent in terms of their professional obligations?
Mr. Jha, please don't try and confirm. No, one second. Can I please? Mr. Jha, you've had your turn there. The question is not that. I go back to TSR Subramaniam. That is not the question. You must wait your turn, Mr. Jha. Mr. Jha, 1 minute, please. Mr. Jha, let me get in others also. Please understand. I am seeing a sentence today in a letter of the Prime Minister's office which I want to read out for all our viewers. And I want to understand who's the Prime Minister and who's the Minister. Because TSR Subramaniam, this is what is written in the PMO letter. And I want, you've been Cabinet Secretary, tell me if the government works like this. It is written, from the PMO side, the following issues were brought to the Minister's notice. In this case, they are talking about Mr. Chidambaram. So point number D says, in this meeting, the Finance Minister, Mr. Chidambaram, briefed the Prime Minister of the agreement, etc., etc. And point number E says, from the PMO side, the following issues were brought to the Minister's notice. In other words, the Prime Minister told Mr. Chidambaram, of the Prime Minister's office told Mr. Chidambaram, Mr. Chidambaram, we really have worries about this deal. And then it goes on to say, the Civil Aviation Minister says all these concerns will be taken into account. The Commerce Minister backed it. The Finance Minister, External Affairs Minister backed it. Subsequently, in the interest of greater transparency and wider consultations, the Prime Minister has now decided that it should be brought before the Cabinet Committee. Please tell me, Mr. TSR Subramaniam, does it ever happen that the Prime Minister's office meekly submits to the Minister concerned, please consider these issues, and then another Minister, far junior Minister, Ajit Singh comes and says, yes, okay, but we have taken these issues into consideration, let's move on. Does it happen like that?
Arnab,
does it work like that?
What is the date of this letter? What is the date of this letter?
This letter is...
what is the date of this note?
Is 13th of June 2013. From my information.
This was well after after the decision. Decision was in April.
Yeah.
The signature was in April.
Yeah.
This is pure ex post facto rationalization of whatever is happening.
Why?
It has no other value. It is not a contemporary document. It is not a document which was used for decision making.
But why is it being written?
Ex post facto rationalization.
Why is it being written?
Which has come 1.5 months later. What is appearing here is, apart from the merits of this matter, about which I have great worries, but I don't want to comment strongly, I am astonished at the way our governance is being run. We must be worse than Haiti, the worst decision-making country in the whole world. We go and make agreements with country, formally sign with them, and you come back a month later and question them. We have a national debate. This is no way to run a democracy. I mean, we should hang our heads in shame. I'm not worried about this particular deal, which is good or bad. It doesn't really matter. But this is no way to run a country.
We have a Papa Doc and a Mama Doc here.
No, I mean, it's a strange situation.
Arnab, I know Subramaniam Swamy is from the Janata Party, but this other Mr. Subramaniam is from Bharatiya Janata Party or what? Can you just clarify that for me?
Can anybody making a political Mr. Jha, thank you for that. Mr. One second, Mr. Jha. Mr. Jha, one second.
I don't want to question your wisdom or your understanding or your ability. I will not stoop to that level at all. For your information, I belong to no party.
Right.
I will not question your
Right.
intelligence, your
Some hard
ability, or
questions
your
can be asked
understanding,
by
or your
anyone,
comprehension. I will not do
anybody.
it.
So, Mr. Jha, by your logic,
Absolutely. But
am I to
coming
assume-
back to the discussion.
No, 1 second. Mr. Jha, I just want to understand this. One second, Mr. Jha, since you said that, may I ask you one thing? Mr. Jha, can I ask you one thing? Can I ask you one thing? Mr. Jha, is Ashwini Kumar from the Bharatiya Janata Party?
No,
Is Ajay Prakash from the Bharatiya Janata Party?
I think it should be a
What kind of
debate
logic
in
is
the
that?
best interest of the nation. I think
listen,
one of the things that we lack in this country is that nobody is putting India first.
Anyway, I want to make just one observation. The Prime Minister is exercising the highest level of transparency. The deals are being looked at by multiple responsible agencies like the FIPB and SEBI. Even as far as these hub deals are concerned, let me tell you that every country has bilateral deals with every country. This is not unusual.
Well,
if anybody believes there's favoritism, let me tell you that will also be looked at any point
But
of
Mr.
time.
Jha,
And let me tell you,
Mr.
these
Jha,
deals
that
are
anybody
not
is the
done
Prime Minister
by
of
an
India.
airline. These are done between
Mr. Jha,
countries.
that
That's it.
anybody you refer to is the Prime Minister of India. The greatest reservations are from the Prime Minister.
Sorry?
What will you say next? The Prime Minister is the Prime Minister from the BJP. What are you saying,
No,
Mr. Jha?
let me answer your question. It goes to show that this government and its ministers and the Prime Minister are exercising the maximum possible discretion in case of any transaction.
Last word from Ajay Prakash is coming. Ajay Prakash.
This is sheer apologism, you know. I mean, this, Mr. Jha,
Prime Minister,
you know, you cannot have the Prime, you have the Finance Minister saying that this meeting has been called, he's been taking this decision at the behest of the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
The Prime Minister then goes back and you call this in the best interest of transparency. This doesn't.
Well, let me tell you,
sorry.
Based on your evidence, those are what you have. There may be a lot of other mails. There may be a lot of other papers exchanged that is not on television today.
Inhale. You know, I mean, you can't go so far and say, oh, I didn't inhale.
Quick word.
This SEBI and FIPB thing should have been done in the beginning. Why is it being done now?
Yeah.
You know, all of these things, even the stock exchange pointed out that, you know, data has not been submitted. How can data not be submitted, you know, prior to doing a deal?
I think that
one deal with a country, you know, and all these deals being done in quick succession. You said that 49%. Immediately, a few months after 49%, it was all taken forward in a very crazy kind of way.
Well,
After that, you know, the deal was transacted, but nobody said anything about the other parts of the deal.
Gentlemen,
and then there was a deal with the nation where bilaterals were thrown out.
Yes.
And, you know, so this is in multiple parts which are all forming. And if you look at the holistic picture,
my question,
then you get
my question, I go where I began this, because I said one thing. I said, which coalition Dharma forced the Prime Minister to do what he did? And is Ajit Singh, is RLD as powerful as the DMK? That there was so much pressure put, would Ajit Singh have pulled out support? Would the government have fallen in May? If you didn't agree with Ajit Singh, I mean, there has to be some serious explanation.
No, but
somebody's got to take ownership. If Mr. Swami wants to say something.
Ajit Singh could have gone to the Prime Minister after getting sanction from the other pole in the diarchy.
Well, I don't know. That's Subramaniam Swami sarcasm, who says he's also going to take the issue to court. We're tracking the story, but I don't think anyone can do a U-turn. And if the politicians say now that the media is wiser in hindsight, we can also have something to say back to the politicians. They are now really wiser in hindsight.
No, but if you open
2 weeks of hindsight. 2 months of hindsight. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me. We have more scoops on this story in the coming days on